Well, good morning everybody, and it's a great pleasure to have this opportunity to talk to you in attending this very important holistic management conference, which is really going to be a backup, one would think, to the interesting and stimulating and positive training that you've received, or most of you have received, in holistic management practices. And you might be wondering why it is that a former soldier and Governor General is getting in behind you on this, and it's very simple really, because I really believe that the globe is going to face a very, very major food security problem. We've got to really double our food production by 2050, when the globe's supply of arable land is decreasing at about the rate of 1% per year, where the water resources to support that production are decreasing in many countries of the world, and where the input costs for farmers, particularly in terms of fertilisers, chemicals and so on, is increasing at a rapid rate. So the global situation is very difficult. And back here in Australia, whilst we have very, very good farmers in many cases, and I'm sure all of you are included in that category, and we've got some pretty good science, we also have got some problems. About 60% of our arable land is degraded in some form. The costs for our farmers in terms of their inputs in fertilisers, chemicals, fuels and so on is going up. The average age of our farmers is about 59. And we've also got big problems with water. So we do have issues to deal with. And if I can just make the point on water, it's very simple. What we've been looking at, I guess, for the last 50, 60, 100 years or so, mainly is how much water is in our streams, rivers and dams. And what I think we've got to do is to look at water from another dimension. Rather than looking at what's coming out of the pipe, that is in the rivers and dams, we've got to look at what's going into the pipe. And the best way to get water into the pipe is to be able to retain it in our soils. And to do that, we've really got to deal with the evaporation soil quality problem. So they're the two issues, and of course that's what holistic management by and large deals with. But what I want to say to you is that it's, although we have these difficulties, we've also got terrific solutions at hand. And my travels around the country, I've seen scores and scores of farmers, perhaps many of you, who for some reason or other have managed to come to grips with what's been going wrong. And my betting is that in the majority of cases where farmers are now producing crops or cattle or whatever in a sustainable and profitable way, there'll be a number of commonalities. The first will be that you're actually managing your water properly. You're able to read your landscape and get the hydrology right. And the second point, I think, is in managing your soils. You've realised that soil fertility is all bound up with fungal and microbic activity, and to get that functioning properly, you've got to do certain things to improve that soil quality. And of course this is where the holistic management process comes in as a very important part or component of dealing with the water soil issue. And you will have heard, I have no doubt, in your training courses, of the work of Alan Savory. I've met him on 2 occasions now, and what he has done in terms of using the controlled grazing of relatively small areas of landscape to rejuvenate the health of those soils through cattle eating grasses down to a particular level where the root growth is still maintained and the carbon is still maintained, and of course the excreta and waste from cattle on those very small blocks being able to enhance soil fertility quickly. That concept is now starting to take hold right across the globe, and I'm delighted to see it taking place in Australia. And some of you might have been out to Martin Royd's place in the back of Braidwood, or Tim Wright's place out Urallaway, They're just two examples. They may even be at the conference. I hope they are. But they're two very, very good examples of the Alan Savory type principle of controlled intensive grazing. So I urge you to have a look at what Alan and Martin and Tim have been doing, and to see how it might fit your particular Could I again system. Congratulate you all for having taken on the course. If you haven't done so, then I strongly recommend that you do it. I recommend that you work with amongst yourselves in terms of passing information for the better of the whole of the farming community. Get onto the demonstrator site concept if you feel of that mood so to do, and I hope that together we will all be able to work together to really change the landscape, soil, water management, regeneration process for the good of all Australians, and indeed to set an example for the rest of the world. All the best for the conference. It's been a delight to be able to say a few words to you. Thank you.